Okay, let me give you an overview of the bike and its features, or scooter, more to the point. Let me give some details of what you can do, what it's got. So starting at the back, it's got a nice soft brake you can use with your foot to slow down the bike. It does allow you to slow down quickly. The scooter does move very fast. 50 miles per hour doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're on the road or when you're on the pavement, or I use it on a bike path, it's pretty quick. So this helps you slow down slowly. Unlike the handbrake over here in red, this is quite powerful, the electric brake. It does kind of give you an immediate stop, which is, I kind of use most of the time, but when I'm coming around corners, going around a bend, I usually use the foot brake at the back to slow me down, or especially when I'm coming up to a crossing. On top of that, you've got the kickstand, which is quite useful. Very useful, to be honest. Without that, the scooter will just fall over. You've got the lock here for the leverage to fold the scooter in half. You pull that forward, and just hold that there. You pull that forward, and then just fold the top part of the column down, and you can close it. What else do you have? Just go to the back of it. You got the left and right handles, as I mentioned. These handlebars come into the box. You take them out and just screw them into the side. They do sometimes come a little bit loose, or feel like they're a little bit loose when you're at high speeds. Just kind of rock a little bit, so you make sure you're getting those real tight in there. So the left and right handlebars. You got your brake. You got the accelerator. Control your speed. If you hold it to a certain position for about 6 seconds, you can hit cruise control, which is really cool. Now you don't have to keep holding it as you're riding your scooter. Leave it at a certain position for about 6 seconds. You let go of it, and it'll maintain that speed for as long as it goes, as long as you want it to go. You can press the accelerator again, just like in a normal car, to remove the cruise control setting, or hit the brake once, and it will cancel the cruise control setting. Below here, you've got the actual power charger. So this is where you charge or plug in your power adapter to charge the actual scooter, which is again about an hour and a half, 2 hours, which is pretty damn quick, to be honest. Pretty quick. Here's your actual power sockets here's the display for showing all the features that you've got. The first option is distance, as you can see there, for distance. Then you've got the miles per hour. This is by default can be kilometers. I changed it to miles per hour, and you've got the 6 kind of bars for your battery. So distance means what distance you just traveled, the current travel distance you had when you switched it on and you went from point A to point B. To switch it off, switch it on again, that distance resets again, and again controls the distance from point A to point B and tells you what distance you just did, which is good, but a little bit annoying. I wish you could save that, just like a trip A, trip B on a car you can do, where you can just check what was the distance that you did on your last trip. As soon as you switch it off, you lose that initial distance, and that's why I don't particularly, I wish I had a feature where you could lock that distance in, for trip A or trip B as such. And then if you press on the dial itself, you've got this is the power button here. Keep that pressed, switches it off. So I'm going to show you how to use the close the bike and fold it up. Keep calling it bike, but it's a scooter. So you've got to close the kickstand first. So close the kickstand, and there's a leverage here which you kind of pull forward. Once you pull that forward, you should be able to close it. It's quite straightforward. And it kind of closes, locks, and then you can kind of pick it up and take it where you want to take it. It's a bit scuffy, does kind of hit the ground a bit, but otherwise, it's not too bad. I can hold it. It's a little bit heavy, but it's not too bad. Let me show you how to set that back up again. So put it down. There's leverage there, same leverage. You push it down, pull it up, and then you can just kick the kickstand out, and it'll stand up again. So now I'll take it for a little test drive around the back of one of my house ways. So it's fairly flat. You can see it's concrete. It's got quite a bit of pebbles and stuff, but it's fairly flat. So we'll take it for a little ride and show you what it's like. And it's very, very quiet, by the way. It's just like an electric car. Very silent. You can barely hear it's actually going. Especially when I'm riding on the bike path. I kind of have to shout out to people that know I'm coming. I actually should get a bell for the scooter, to be honest, but it is very quiet. People don't really know you're coming up behind them sometimes. So what I'll do now, I'll do a little test drive for you, just in my garage around the back, and I'll have my trusty assistant take a little drive and or ride, more to the point. Lights on, let's have a look. Very bright. As you can hear, it's very smooth, very quiet, and you can really pick up some speed on here. There's a short turning angle, so you have to be careful, but otherwise it's fairly smooth, and you can go, as I mentioned, very fast on here. Let me put the light on for you. Let me stop for a second and I'll switch on the light and see what it's like. Very useful if you're running late, trying to get back in the evening. Again, the battery itself is actually in this hose over here. So this is where the actual battery is held. It's made out of carbon fiber, the whole outer shell. What else it's got? It's fairly small wheels, not much of a suspension, but it does take a few bumps and rolls on the track. Made in the USA, assembled in China. What else? It's got a nice foot brake, as I mentioned, much more smoother than the brake on the outside. At the front of the scooter, which is very powerful, very blinding. You switch that on and you will start seeing stars by the time you look at it for more than a couple of seconds. So that's a really cool light, very powerful, gives me a good light when I'm coming home from work and it's getting a little bit dark, and it really does illuminate the whole way in front of me. Very hard not to be seen by that for a while. It really is super bright. Here's the display for showing all the features that you've got. The first option is distance, as you can see there, for distance. Then you've got the miles per hour. This is by default, can be kilometers. I changed it to miles per hour, and you've got the 6 kind of bars for your battery. So distance means what distance you just traveled, the current travel distance you had when you switched it on and you went from point A to point B. To switch it off, switch it on again, that distance resets again and again controls the distance from point A to point B and tells you what distance you just did, which is good, but a little bit annoying. I wish you could save that, you know, just like a trip A, trip B on a car you can do, where you can just check, you know, what was the distance that you did on your last trip. As soon as you switch it off, you lose that initial distance, and that's why I don't particularly, you know, I wish I had a feature where you could lock that distance in, you know, for trip A or trip B as such. And then if you press on the dial itself, you've got this is the power button here. Keep that pressed, switches it off. Keep it pressed again, switches it on. You've got the lower speeds. This is your gears, 1, 2, 3 going down. Sorry, 3, 2, 1 going down, and 1, 2, 3 going up. 1, 2, and 3 going up. You press the middle power button one more time. It comes to the odometer, which shows you the total distance you've traveled. In my case, I've traveled 38.6 miles since I've had the scooter, right? So that's, you know, a fair bit of mileage. Again, the miles per hour stays on the screen all the time. If I press it again, it shows me the revs per minute I'm doing. So I think it's 960 revs per minute I tend to get from the bike when I'm at full speed. That's at 50 miles per hour. And then you got the time, how long you've had the actual scooter on for. So this just shows you if I was traveling from point A to point B and it took me 6 minutes to get there, this will show 6 minutes from the time it was powered on to how long I had it on, how long I was traveling on the scooter. If I press it again, it gives me the average miles per hour. Here I've got 27.4 miles per hour. This is the average I've done in total distance. Actually, I'm not sure if that's miles per hour. That must be kilometers. So one other thing I wanted to let you know, to get to the settings options, you keep the outer 2 buttons pressed together, so that's the, you know, down gear and up gear together, and you keep them held for about 3 seconds. It takes you down to the internal settings, and these are the P0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You press the power button to cycle through, and these are different options within the scooter that you can set. For example, one of the ones that I've set is to set the cruise control on or off. So by default, I think it's P6. I'm not sure. Let me scroll through. I think it's P6. If it's set to 0, that means cruise control is off. So even if you hold your speed for 6 seconds, nothing will happen. You actually have to set this internal option on first from 0 to 1 to enable cruise control. And then when you are riding your scooter and you hold your accelerator for about 6 seconds, it will lock into that cruise control speed. So option 6 is the one I've set for cruise control. Switching it on, and then that's been set. So now my cruise control is always on. Always on meaning it's enabled, and I just need to use the accelerator to enable to switch it on to a set speed or not. It's pretty quick. Like I said, that's just in gear 1 at the moment, and it's gone fairly quickly at the top of the thing. Top of the street quite quickly. I'll see it come back down again. It's coming back. As you can see, it's quite quiet. So you go around the outside. Now I've done a total distance of about 36 miles on it. Gives me a top speed of 15 miles per hour. On top of that, the distance it's advertised at doing 15 miles total distance. I don't get nowhere near 15. I can get about 6 if I'm lucky. Luckily my workplace is only about 4.2 miles, 4.3 miles, so I can get to work, put it on charge, and then after an hour and a half I can take it back out again. So I'm obviously there for the whole day for work, and in the evening I can take the scooter back home, which is another 4.2 miles back. So for me it works out fine, because my total journey, my total distance isn't more than about 4.5 miles. So I've got a buffer. I can take it as a buffer, an hour and a mile and a half, 2 miles is for a total distance of 6 miles I can get out of it. So it's not too bad. For more people who want the full distance of 50 miles per hour, you're not going to get that, to be honest, unless you're very lightweight. As I mentioned, I'm about 175, 180 pounds. Average height, with a backpack sometimes. Maybe if you're a smaller child, you might get some better distance on there, but I like to hear back from other people, see what kind of distance they get. But for me, it works out fine. I'll see how it goes. I've got a couple more weeks on it, make sure it's running smooth. I don't have any complications with it. The warranty is a normal 1-year manufacturer's warranty, so we'll see how that goes. And I've read some reviews online which show that there are some problems sometimes with not charging to full capacity, but I'll see that, we'll see if that causes me a problem or not. But right now, an hour and a half is sufficient for me to get this charged on time. Okay guys, thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Let me know if you liked it. Put some likes up there, give us your feedback, anything you want me to do different on there. But otherwise, thanks once again. Bye bye.